Best part of the week, Monday afternoon. Not a lot of people can say that. Darian, it's been a traumatic day at the Century Studios in Regina. The fancy coffee machine we had in the staff room has been taken out. We don't know why. And it's been replaced by a plain old coffee pot, like a good old glass coffee pot that you make 4 to 6 cups and you pour her in your mug and you walk back to your desk and you put your head down and you keep on trucking. Like, this was a Cadillac coffee pot. It made the thing. Now, are you a Starbucks guy? Are you a coffee bean and tea leaf? Like, what is dairy? Are you a tea? Are you a latte? Like, where do you fall in the scale of the coffee world?
The furthest I would go is a macchiato from Starbucks. Now, my wife, she is huge. Like she will give her last bit of life savings to Starbucks if she could. She's there every single day, multiple times a day. And what's crazy about it is the coffee she makes at home is just not good enough. She'll have her coffee when she gets up and then go right to Starbucks before work. So it's crazy, man. But I just could never get with the craze, but I do understand it. Trust me.
It sounds like, now I'm a married guy and I can pick up on signals. It sounds like you and your wife maybe have discussed her love of Starbucks once or twice and how much she spends and how much she goes in a day. I'm just saying, we don't need to go any further than that. Okay. One of the things that some of the comments we get when we're on to be like, hey, is there ever a chance for us to ask Darian questions? And yes, if there's something you'd like to ask Darian, text us now, 306-936-6262. One of the questions that came in, this is from Brandon. Darian, is there one backup quarterback that was behind you, like Drew Willie, Tino Sinceri, that you thought for sure would make it, and maybe they didn't or didn't have it, but they ended up making it? When it came to the backup situation, were you usually, who were the guys you were like bang on about where they ended up going in their CFL career?
First of all, with Drew Willie, I think Drew was definitely a guy that I saw, who had the potential to be a starter elsewhere. If I had been older at the time, I would be more worried about my job. Honestly, Drew came in. He just picked up on the game so well. He was a student of the game, and he had the physical abilities to go with it. Unfortunately, he, suffered some injuries when he got to Winnipeg, but I definitely looked at Drew as a guy who could, be a guy somewhere else in the league. But as far as arm talent goes, I think Tino Sinceri and Chris Leak, those are two of the guys, even though Chris Leak wasn't my actual backup, but just arm talent wise, the way he and Tino could spin it, I've never seen anything like that before.
Really? Maybe I don't remember Tino Sinceri the way you do. Well, okay. You obviously would have seen these guys throw practice balls every day, where we didn't see a lot of that. So maybe we didn't know, because they always say in the CFL, wide field, and it's very easy to figure out who can and can't make all of those throws. That's usually the determining factor, right? All the talent in the world,
for sure.
Can't make the wide side out in the CFL. No chance in the CFL.
Yeah, I think that, the difference was when they got into the game, things start speeding up. You don't take any hits in practice. You can just sit back there all day and make throws if you want. And when you get in the game, it's live bullets. And I think that's what, separated, the thing with Tino from being able to transition that from practice to the game. But I'm just speaking on pure arm talent. Tino definitely is up there.
I think we covered this a while back, but let's recap, because this will help us get to our point. When you were a student at the University of North Carolina, what perks did you get as a student athlete? Like, what was included with getting your football scholarship? Like, what went with that?
Well, we received scholarship checks, which was, a couple $1,000 a month to take care of your rent and your food and all the other things, that small necessities and things that you would need. You didn't have to go to class as much as the regular students did. That was another perk. And, I can speak on it now a little bit now that I'm gone, but if you were a, big time, high profile guy, then the boosters would definitely, slip you a couple dollars after each game and make sure that you're well taken care of, and make sure you don't have to call home, and because a lot of guys come from bad backgrounds, and money was needed, so the boosters would definitely come in and slide you a couple dollars if need be. But other than that, I mean, we were not treated the way these guys are. It's just crazy what's going on nowadays.
So the reason why I ask is because with NIL in NCAA sports over the past couple of years, it's kind of like the wild, wild west. There's not a lot of rules or boundaries. And sooner or later, it was bound to get out of control. And I think this story here coming out of Tennessee is exactly what people predicted would happen. So Tennessee is moving on from their quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, after he missed meetings and practice on Friday, according to coach Josh Heupel. This kid had about a $2 million a year NIL contract. He was trying to renegotiate to get himself a $4 million per season NIL contract for playing quarterback. He played okay, but he decided to pick himself over the team, and the team said nobody is bigger than the program. The T at the University of Tennessee will always be bigger than even the coaches. And so they cut bait with him. Now, the transfer portal is going to open on Wednesday, and he can go and try and find another team. So this is not only a bad situation, but now it came out today. Apparently, last year in the playoffs, not only him, but other players on Tennessee went to the team and said, we want more money for our NIL deals, or we will not play in these playoff games, basically holding the team hostage. They ended up playing, no word if they got paid any more money. Darian, is this going to be the destruction of college sports when these athletes, a 20-year-old kid says $2 million isn't enough, I need $4 million to play quarterback this Saturday?
I don't think you'll ever see the destruction of college sports. Now, I think you'll see more destruction of individual athletes, guys who have all the talent in the world. And, speaking of this situation, you're at the University of Tennessee. You're at one of the most prestigious universities in America. The talent you have around you is exceptional. So it makes sense to stay and be in a better situation, even if you're making a little bit less. But now, you forced the hand of the team. Coach Heupel let you know that no one's bigger than the team. And now you have to look at going to, a Tulane or North Carolina or UCLA, which doesn't have the talent that Tennessee has. So what you're probably going to see is him go to another school, but not have any success, or not nearly the amount of success that he would have had at Tennessee, just because the supporting cast won't be that good. So I think you'll see the destruction of these athletes who are putting themselves on a pedestal when they really don't deserve to be, or they're getting bad advice from these agents or family members who are telling them what they should go after, and they're trying to go after the money instead of being in a good situation. So a lot of athletes are going to just force these schools to cut them, basically, because if you don't fit in, if you're not a part of the program, especially at these schools, man, it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy, but you can find another quarterback, especially a quarterback that only threw 20 touchdowns, right? So you can replace him, and now he's going to be in an even worse situation.
4 years ago, he would have been getting what you got: books, tuition, dorm, a little gas money here, there, some booster. But now, 4 years at even the $2.4 million he was getting, you're leaving college with over $9 million for playing college football. Whether you get a sniff at the NFL, CFL, USFL, like, bad advice to the nth degree. Like, could you imagine what? Okay, so Darian, if this was you, that is life-changing money for not only you, but for your extended family. Would you not be grateful and take it and
Absolutely.
shut up and just be,
For sure.
I won the lottery and I get to play football?
For sure. And I think with this NIL, so now it's going to be like pro ball. You're going to look at the other quarterbacks who've transferred or what these quarterbacks are getting at other schools. And then you're going to compare yourself to this guy and say, okay, well, I think he's looking at Carson Beck, who went to Miami, and Miami gave Carson Beck $4 million, but you don't know the situation that Miami is in. They're a little more desperate than Tennessee when it comes to looking for a quarterback. Cam Ward just left. He brought back some notoriety to the Miami program. So they went after a guy like Carson Beck to try to keep the program at a certain level. But at Tennessee, the supporting cast, the defensive linemen defensive linemen themselves that come to Tennessee are just above and beyond the type of talent that you're going to see at any of these other schools. So, when you're in these situations, you have to think about the team. You have to look at it all as life-changing money and think about the guys before you who a few years ago weren't getting a dime when it came to, some guys. The star players would get a few dollars, but some guys, even though they were starters, wouldn't get any money. So you're in a situation now where you're getting millions of dollars and you're still ungrateful. I think you're going to see the fall of a lot of athletes because of that.
And then when I read that story on Saturday, my brain instantly went to, let's say that he continues on his football career and nothing comes up in the NFL. And then his agent gets a call from a CFL team. Is he really going to want to come and try and play for $125,000 Canadian when you've made $8 to $10 million in college? You're basically playing for free at that point. You're going to have to play for the love of the game. That's the other slippery slope, that the spillover effect will be these spoiled athletes. Who's going to want to come to the CFL? For what?
Yeah, I don't think anyone will. I mean, you're talking about if a guy can, make $9 million, he may see $4 million. I mean, even $3 million at 10% a year is $300,000. So the type of money he'll be making just off interest, if they're being led the right way financially, it wouldn't be worth it for them to come to Canada and get hurt, and it'll be a downgrade in their salary. So it may be tough for the CFL as well. I think, though, more than anything, you'll see more guys who love the game. And I think those are the type of guys who need to be in Canada anyway, guys who love it, guys who will embrace the role of being a quarterback in the CFL.
Last week on social media, Bo Levi Mitchell put out that if they were to win the Grey Cup this year, the Hamilton Ticats, that he's going to retire. Go out on top. If you would have stayed a rider your whole career, did you have a scenario cooked up in your head that if it came to a spot like a Bo Levi, you're on in years, you win a Grey Cup, and you hang it up at the peak?
I never had that moment. After we won the Grey Cup, I was injured, 2 years in a row. And then we had a coaching change and a horrible season. And then I was traded to Montreal. So I never had a successful season like Bo did last year, where you can, hang your hat on an MOP season and then say, okay, I've won an MOP at another spot. Now, if I can get a Grey Cup at this destination as well, I mean, what more does he have to prove? He has Grey Cups and he has MOPs in Calgary. So for him to do it in two different places, of course, I mean, it's time for you to go. And I think he's looking at it the right way.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say once you win the championship, but to me, I know as a fan, going to the Grey Cup and losing hurts more than losing out earlier. It's just because your hopes aren't up. Like you can start to not care about the two teams that are going to be in it.
Yeah, it's not as bad as I'm feeling, right?
Yeah, it's not as bad. Rookie camp. Well, no, I think we're a month away from training camp. Rookie camp was a week away last week. We're a month away from training camp. The Butterflies. Now, if you weren't in Saskatchewan in the off season and you were coming up, if it's a month before training camp, like back in your rider days, are you already in town, or when did you, if you were living somewhere else, when did you like to come up before camp? What was your timeline?
Yeah, we would come up about a month early, myself and the receivers, the veteran receivers, and just start getting some light workout days in, getting back acclimated to the atmosphere and the altitude for sure. I mean, the weather's a lot different. You have to get used to the breathing. So you want to get yourself back acclimated with Saskatchewan and the wind and all the elements of being there. So you give yourself about a month, and you just hang out, work out with the guys, find you somewhere. If you don't have a place lined up, you go ahead and get your living arrangements down. So yeah, about a month out would be a good time for veterans to come in town.
I'm sure that there's guys that have never been here that are coming to training camp for the first time. They're going to have no idea what they're getting themselves into, in a good way and
Yeah.
in a bad way. So would it be, did you have access to the stadium, but just obviously there could be no coaches around, but would they just sort of like leave the doors open and the lights on and the football's out to be like, hey, do as much as you want. It's up, cause there can't be any interference because it's not playing by the rules.
Yeah, the equipment staff is there. You just schedule a time with those guys to have your clothes and whatever equipment you may need to go out there on the field ready for you. I mean, you're in tune with everything. Now, for the rookies, they wouldn't have as much access to the facilities as the veteran guys. They have to earn their stripes in that aspect. But for us veterans, we just give Gordy a call. We're coming up. Let's get some cleats and some footballs ready, and we're going to go throw it around a little bit.
When you're new, it's one thing, but when you get older, did you like the excitement when you were a couple of weeks out from training camp? Like, was there a certain, feeling in the pit of your stomach that, okay, it's almost go time?
When you're good, I mean, when you're good and you're good and you have a shot at a Grey Cup, then you have the butterflies all over again. You're excited. You're ready for camp. But those years where, I mean, look, we know the years where your team is not as good. You saw, back then the moves that Calgary made, or Mike Riley going over to Edmonton and things like that. So you knew when you were good enough to compete, and you knew those were the years that you felt good about it. Luckily for me, most of our years were like that. There were a few that you were unsure about, but most of the years I was very excited and ready to go because I knew that we had a chance to win a Grey Cup.
So it was kind of like someone took away the fancy coffee machine and you knew you were going to be in one all season long before you ever strapped on the pads for the first time.
Long ride, man. You know that.
Oh, that's got to be tough. Some NFL news. The New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr's availability for 2025. I don't know if you read this. Shoulder injury, could be out. What do they do at quarterback? I've always liked Derek Carr. I always thought he got a little too much flack for what he's ever had to work with. He seems like a good dude, and it's not like he's been surrounded with world-class talent every stop he's been in.
I know, man. It's just crazy because, look, it's amazing to be a top pick in a draft. It's your dream. You're going to make a lot of money. But one thing's for sure, you're going to go to a bad football team. So, I don't care who you are. You were going to the Oakland Raiders at the time. You're not going to have a lot of success. So that's why sometimes if you look at Mahomes, he was able to go to a very good team, a team coming off of an AFC championship. So it's just unfortunate. Most of the good quarterbacks are going to go to bad teams, and they're going to have to figure out a way to make it happen with subpar rosters.
Hey, Cam Ward, I mean, it's great on draft night when Roger Goodell shakes your hand, but yeah, you're going to be in one for a long time. And the Mahomes thing, the beauty of being kind of a mid-round pick is it's no different in hockey. Connor Bedard, if he went to a number 10 team, probably be having a whole lot better first 2 years in the NHL. But when you're going to be a savior, it's tough. Joe Flacco signs a 1-year deal to return to the Browns. I like that. It's a little stability. Cleveland is just a disaster, and hopefully he's okay with that. Speaking of top picks, Abdul Carter from Penn State put out a tweet the other day, or he was on Instagram, with a picture of Lawrence Taylor from the New York Giants in the background. Now, some are saying that the Giants are going to be taking him number 3 overall. Have you seen enough from Abdul Carter? Could he be one of those guys that's a game changer on that D-line?
if he's anything like Micah Parsons, for sure. And you have to just look at that Penn State bloodline and the type of athletes, starting with LeVar Arrington and all the guys that have come through there and played defense at that school. So if he's anything like those guys, and if the hype is real behind him, then I definitely see a game changer. He's a 4'4", 40 guy at 240 pounds. You just don't find that. So we'll see. That's the beauty of it, man. All the hype dies down come this summer, and we'll see once you put the pads on.
You mentioned Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys fans, if you're listening, Dak Prescott is confident he will return to full form next season. I don't know what that means. The Dallas Cowboy quarterback, who underwent season-ending surgery on a hamstring injury in November, told reporters this week he's getting close, but if he had to, he could play today, Darian. Take that, Cowboys Nation.
Look, that's good to hear. I mean, you can say what you want about Dak. He's productive. You could also be in a situation like the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns and all of these other teams who are struggling to find a quarterback, who've gone 20 years without a quarterback. So, it's good news to hear Dak is okay.
Refresh my memory, and I'm not trying to be funny. Before he got hurt, how were the Cowboys doing record-wise? Were they okay? Were they 500? Because I know it fell off, but
I don't think they were five. I think they were a game or two below 500, but okay. He was still playing pretty well.
Yeah. The lack of the running game last year really hurt the Cowboys. That's another area. They got to get that squared away. And if Ashton Genty ended up being a Cowboy, I'm back on that bandwagon. I just don't know that he's going to be around.
I don't think so. I think the Raiders or someone earlier go get him. I think he's, with Saquon Barkley showing that running backs can lead a team, I think he'll bring back the value at the running back position.
All right. It's Good Friday, this upcoming Friday, and then Easter Sunday. Now with 3 daughters, in your house, has the Easter traditions gone past just chocolate bunnies? Have we evolved into iTunes gift cards and Amazon cards? Like in the Durant household, what is the Easter bunny bringing for the girls, Mr. Bunny?
Roblox gift cards. My wife let the kids get on Roblox, especially my oldest, for her 7th birthday, and she's just hooked, man. So that's the go-to.
So if you show up, or the Easter bunny shows up with just a plain old chocolate rabbit, that's just not going to cut it?
No, she'd be happy with that. They'd be very happy with candy.
Okay,
they love
that's
candy.
Good.
I keep candy away from them just long enough for them to love it when they get it. So
nice. That's a good strategy. So I'll let you get to your Easter shopping. I know we've got some stuff around it. I'm still recovering. We had a 10th birthday party last Saturday. So much planning. So much planning. It's way harder than it used to be. All right. He's your Grey Cup champion, Plaza of Honor quarterback. He's Darian Durant. It's Double Talk.